welcome back to my film and TV channel. Yes, and this film I've really looked forward to since last year. Yes, we're talking Wicked for Good, of course, also known as Wicked Part 2. Yes, and it's 2 hours 18 minutes, so a good half an hour less than Part 1. The tagline for this, you will be changed, and my little addition to that, whether you like it or not. Simple as that. Musical fantasy, of course, directed by John M. Chu, written by Winnie Holtzman and Dana Fox. Of course, the sequel to Wicked 2024. And it apparently, it's a long time since I watched the stage show. You know me, I'm a big fan. In fact, it's took Les Miserables over as my favourite current musical theatre production, Wicked, so it's there. I've only seen it 3 or 4 times compared to Les Miserables, which I've probably seen about 30-40 times, but it's took over the mantle of my favourite at the moment. If I'm going to listen to something on Spotify musical wise, I always start with Wicked, simple as that. And apparently this adapts the second act. As I said, it's been probably 4 or 5 years since I've watched it on stage. I've been keen a couple of times, but could never afford the tickets. So, yeah, it adapts the second act of the stage musical by, of course, Stephen Schwartz and Holtzman, which was loosely based, of course, on Gregory Maguire's 1995 novel. I'll have to reread that one or read it. A reimagining of L. Frank Baum's 1900 novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and its 1939 film adaptation, which we finally get to see the links in this, don't we? Although it doesn't do particularly well, I don't think. James Motton said of this film, he's from the Radio Times, he scored at 80, he liked it. He said, a stronger and tighter movie than its Oscar-nominated predecessor without losing any of its splendour. I'd have to disagree with the strong and tight on that, so I'd have to disagree with everything James just said. But Robbie Collin of The Telegraph only scored this 20. He said, a second instalment of the Oz origin movie is bloated, boring despite new songs from both Elphaba and Glinda. Yeah, I'm near Robbie on this one, sadly, which pains me to say it. I do agree with that second sentiment. We'll have a look, a little bit more detail, a couple of other reviews from people as well, and my little thoughts on this. Don't get me wrong, I'm a Wicked fan, and after watching this, I'm still a Wicked fan. But we'll talk about that in a moment. Please, if you're new to the channel, hit that like button, guys. Helps the algorithms, helps the channel out, helps it get out there in the search engines, etc. If you're not already subscribed, if you enjoy the content, please subscribe. And of course, we have something called hype points now, so if you can spare any for me, you can share them around to different people, different vlogs, etc. That'd be fantastic. My thanks to everyone who's already done that for me. That's wonderful. So share the love, share the hype points, and that also, of course, helps the algorithms as well, like pressing that like button or just watching this to the end helps as well, or as much as this as you can. That's wonderful. Right, this was released in the United States on November the 21st, so check your territories. You might have been lucky enough to see a preview. Of course, check your territories for availability. It's available in the UK as I'm recording this on the 21st of November 2025. It stars, of course, Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, Jonathan Bailey, Ethan Slater, Bowen Yang, Marissa Bode, Michelle Yeoh and Jeff Goldblum, all reprising their roles from the first film. And we've even got the addition of Coleman Domingo joining the cast for fans of him. What's it about? Well, do you need to know? But I'll tell you. Set in the land of Oz before and during the events of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, the film explores a relationship between Elphaba and Glinda as they embrace their new identities as the Wicked Witch of the West and Glinda the Good. Yes, and we know there's a lot going on in the background to this as well. Right, I did comment on part 1 when I watched part 1 last year when I did a review that I liked it, but I wanted to be more wowed and thought it might grow on me. And I have by now, possibly watched that part 1 probably about 10 to 15 times, a dozen times, something like that. And it did get better. I did enjoy it more the more I watched, which does happen with musicals. I wasn't particularly impressed with Les Miserables when I first saw that, but by the time I watched it 3 or 4 times, I loved it. It was my favourite, as I said, my favourite musical for a long time till this Wicked came along. So this one, I'm definitely going to watch it again, but I'm not overly confident that it will grow on me as much as part 1 did. And sadly, watching it once. Part 2 left me a little deflated, despite, of course, my favourite song in Wicked, For Good, being part of this sequel. So I think that sort of saved it for me. The fact that song is in it. If they'd done an hour presentation of that song, I might have enjoyed the film a little bit more. But yeah, it is my favourite song, and the staging of it was excellent. Everything about the presentation, of course, is excellent. A bit dark, this one, a bit darker. This second one, less bright and Aussie than the first one, despite the yellow brick road, of course. So yeah, let's face it, it did grow on me part 1, so part 2 will probably have to grow a little bit more on me. I did question the need, I think at the outset, a lot of people did, for the runtime of this superb stage musical. To sort of be almost doubled, if you like, to get 2 films out of this. And I think this has shown the weakness in this part 2. Younger audience, they do like dark elements, but I think this is perhaps a bit too dark in this second. It's not a bad thing, but it does lack a little bit of pace at times, which won't keep the younger watchers happy. And although you can appreciate the acting there from especially the 2 leads and the link between them. And of course, it just drags a little bit, because despite the ability to introduce the Wizard of Oz elements, Dorothy and company, etc., into the mix, the Tin Man, Scarecrow, the Lion, obviously, where they all came from, which we may know bits from part 1, but of course, all them elements, it just seems to be the second part pretty shoddy. It's not as interesting. I don't think it's not as fun. It's not as interesting. The story just isn't as good. So it's fairly shoddy compared to the stage versions. Certainly Act 2, if you like, which is what this is being compared to, and say the stage versions I've seen over the years. Song-wise, of course, as I said, apart from the For Good, it's just not strong enough, this second element. And of course, there's 2 newly written songs, and they may again grow on me if I watch it a little bit more, but they are fairly uninspiring on a first listen through. Of course, with the extra time to develop the stage story, I just don't believe they did that properly. I really wanted to like this, and I look so much forward to it. But as I said, I was left a little bit underwhelmed. The production was sort of stopped, apparently. Of course, they shot these together, but the production was sort of stopped, and it feels as though some information's been lost somewhere. Of course, we've travelled on 5 years, but there's so many gaps between part 1 and part 2 that you're having to figure out yourself. I think they could have used the time better to utilise themselves a bit more. Even to get a silly voiceover at some stage would have helped. I mean, for instance, Nessa is suddenly turned into some nasty governor, soon to be classed as the Wicked Witch of the East. And it's confusing how we even got to this just watching the film. But so that's just one example. There are other frustrating lack of details as well for me. And that's a problem, despite the extended runtime and the promise that it would delve more into characters. This is what the people who put this together said. This just for me didn't happen, which is very frustrating. And plots and key moments are seamlessly rushed through in this second part, and yet they've got plenty of time to look into it, but it's just badly planned, badly laid out. I mean, they had 5 hours to almost, as I said, double the 2 hour 45 minutes runtime of the stage version to improve and actually give us a much deeper understanding of things. So to actually fail, which I think they have done, is almost unforgivable. Such a waste. I mean, part 1 got away with it, I think. As I said, part 2 might grow me a little bit more, but I still think, sadly, part 2 is lacking. Karen James from the BBC scored it 80. He liked it. He said, the film is as slick and shiny as Glinda's lip gloss, but it may also be just what its many fans want. Well, I'm a fan, and it's not quite what I wanted. Anna Strong, Little White Lies, scored it 40. She said, with no substance, no style to be found, all that is left in Wicked for Good is 2 actresses doing more than just belting their hearts out by giving genuinely compelling performances. And that's it. These 2 are the difference for me as well. The difference for me being just a little disappointed and very, very, very disappointed. Naveen Kumar from Washington Post scored it 50. He said, despite its packed agenda, the film can also feel meandering and directionless. I totally agree. 2 hours, 18 minutes. It just doesn't fill it well enough when you consider there's only one great song in this, in my opinion, as well. And Naveen is correct. It's all very higgledy-piggledy, as we say here in the UK. John Nugent from Empire said, wicked for good, sure, but not quite wicked for great. I think John's right. There's a scope for so much more than what we actually get, unfortunately. Others, yeah, generally positive. It's okay. Rotten Tomatoes, 135 fresh, but a big chunk of rotten, 59 rotten. And that's, so let's make that 136 fresh. I've got to be fresh on this. I can't be totally rotten. But when it comes to Metacritic, of course, they score it 60 out of 100 based on 50 critics. 28 were positive, 20 were mixed, and 2 were negative. So let's make that 21 mixed, because I'm definitely mixed on this, even though I'm leaning more towards positive. Rotten Tomatoes audience, Joe Public, loyal, 4.8 out of 5, so that's good. Internet Movie Database, almost 5,000 scores and reviews. That'll, excuse me, guys, that'll increase a lot. Almost 5,000 scores and reviews. It's getting a 7.4, so the fans are there. The fans like it. The fans are staying loyal to it. I'm going to be loyal to it, but I'm still not going to give it a 7.4. It's wicked. I love the musical. I love the stage musical. I just can't love this part 2, unfortunately. It'll be hard pushed, I think, for it to completely grow me like part 1, because I'm sure I felt better after part 1 than I do after watching part 2. But it's not going to be totally negative. I can't be totally negative, and I will watch at least another once or twice, and hopefully I'll listen to the soundtrack of part 2 as well. Hopefully, despite my misgivings, I'm going to give this a score of 6 out of 10, and hopefully that might increase. Having watched part 1 now, I didn't rate it when I first watched it because I thought I would increase my score. I would have scored that an 8 to 8.5 for part 1. Now, having seen it a few times at the moment, I'll stick with a 6 on this. And of course, as I said, it could get higher. But if someone said to me now, if you want to go and watch parts 1 and 2 at the cinema, I'll pay for you. Or do you want to go and watch the theatre production? I'll pay for you. I think I know which one I'd do. I'll go and watch the theatre production, even though it's obviously less than half the time. But hey, yeah, at the moment. But as I said, it might grow on me. Let me know what you think, guys. Have you watched it once? Have you watched it a few times already? Has it sort of gone up in your estimations? Let me know your scores and ratings. Thanks for watching, guys. Please hit those buttons. If you like what I try and do on the channel, if you can support me, that's wonderful. You want a shout out, you can get shout outs on the channel. You want to sponsor me in any way, I'm always open to stuff like that. All you ever have to do is keep watching and listening. Hi again, hope you enjoyed the feature, guys. Thanks for watching. Please, if you did enjoy the content, please give us a thumbs up, and if you've not already done so, press that subscribe button. If you're not already subscribed, that'd be wonderful. It's free to subscribe, absolutely free. Also, check out my social media links if you want to follow me on TikTok, Instagram, X, Facebook. They'll all be in the description below. And my special thanks to supporters of the channel, yes, Piat6505, who have an eBay shop selling film and TV memorabilia, including posters, books, magazines. There'll be a link again in the comments section. And if you're into your football, don't forget my football stuff on Manchester City for general football fans, but mainly City fans, of course. Or if you know someone who might enjoy that, give them a kick in my direction. I'll be very, very grateful. And as ever, guys, yeah, comments on this feature is wonderful. Anything to do with film and TV is always very, very welcome. It's great to talk film and TV. I thank you guys for your support. Stay safe, everyone.